A warm welcome to all the councillors this afternoon and the public to the meeting. Things are gradually returning to a bit of normality as we travel around and we attend these smaller village council meetings. Normality is starting to return. Now, Democratic Services staff have roving microphones here today and wipes, so please raise your hand when you wish to speak. You all clear on that one? Yep, right. Masks are optional. It's entirely up to you what you do on that one. Right. Okay. Item number 1 today, apologies.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And today we have apologies from councillors McGuinty, Crowe, Bayliss, Godwin Pearson, Perry, Granter and Hayward.
Anyone else?
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Scott, hand raised. Will Human. Thank you for that, Councillor Scott. Thank you.
And one here, Chairman.
And one there. Councillor Smedley. Right. You down. Thank you for that, councillors. Item number 2, the minutes. Members, you have the minutes from the meetings held on the 14th, the 28th and the 30th of April and the 4th of August 2021. Are you happy to confirm them as a correct record? Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Slogan. Thank you very much. Everybody happy with this?
Aye.
Show of hands. All happy? Thank you. Declarations of interest. Councillor Caswell and Councillor Gilling. Councillor Woodman, Councillor Clayton as well, yeah, on block. All the county councillors, dual hatters, okay, and Councillor Evans. Councillor Gilling as well, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a member of the Axbrew Internal Drainage Board.
Right, okay, noted. Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you. Item number 4 today, I've got a couple of announcements to make, some good news and bad news. I'm going to start with the good news. I'm going to congratulate Nick Bayliss on the birth of his little baby girl, which is good news. And also, I had some sad news as well. Councillor Lillian Cartwright, the ex-chairman of this council, sadly passed away a month ago. So what I'm going to ask you all to do now is just stand in a minute's silence, if you could, please. I'm just going to say a few short words about Lillian, your approval at the moment, right? But anybody who wants to go to a funeral service, it's at 12 o'clock at the crematorium in Taunton on Monday. Right, Lillian was a Conservative councillor and served on SDC from 1978 until standing down in 2029. serving 31 years on this council. That's a long time. She represented the Cannington, Otterhampton and Stockland Bristol ward, renamed to Cannington and Cummich, and latterly the Cannington and Quantock ward. As an elected councillor, Lillian served on a number of committees and was elected to the position of Vice Chairman of Council in 1979. And in 1981 was elected as the Chairman of the Council until 1983-84. Councillor Cartwright was also Deputy Chairman and Chairman of the General Purpose Committee and Chair of the Planning Committee and Housing Committee. During her time, Councillor Cartwright was a driving force behind the Angel Place development and was Chairman of the Twinning Association for Sedgemoor, the Swam Eder District Twinning Association, and was a big supporter of the Bridgewater Arts Centre. She was a firm believer that a district councillor was just that, and not just a ward councillor. She would always help out and was interested in other areas of the district. As I said before, there will be a celebration of Lillian's life at the Taunton Crematorium on Monday, 11th of October at 12 noon. And I should be attending, and it should be nice to see anybody there who wishes to join us. Thank you. Item number 5 today.
Chairman. Councillor Slogan.
Sorry, Joe, I forgot that one. Yeah, sorry, my dear. Councillor Slogan would like to say a few words.
I don't know if this is on. Is it on? Phil, is it on? Okay. I just wanted to say on behalf of the Conservative group, obviously, especially Lillian worked really hard with us, and she has left a massive legacy of care, honesty, and sincere hard work. And we are just wanted to let you know that we are really deeply saddened, and we hope that many of us will be able to attend on Monday. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Slogan, for that. Thank you. Councillor Smedley, Ryan Smedley, please.
To rise on behalf of the Labour Group to also offer our condolences to the Cartwright family, to recognise Lillian Cartwright's work on behalf of this council over the years. I first knew her actually during the 1980s on the Arts Centre board. She was a Sedgemoor rep on the Arts Centre board, and I was involved in putting on stuff then. And she was also involved, obviously, in the council through most of my own 31 years of being on the council. But it's obviously a loss to everybody, and she did some great work on the council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Smedley. Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillor Evans, wish to speak?
Likewise, on behalf of the Liberal Democrat group, our sincere condolences to the Conservative group and the loss of former Councillor Cartwright. I knew her by reputation. I know that she was a powerful advocate for her community and for Sedgemoor, so our condolences.
Thank you for that, Councillor Evans. Thank all the councillors. Thank you very much. Thank you. Item number 5 today, public speaking time. And we've got one member there who registered to speak today, and that's Mr. David Priest. Welcome, David. But it's your floor.
Could I just add to the comments that have just been passed about Lillian? I was on the council, part of the Swalmida Christ team that kept it going for a number of years until unfortunately the costs for Sedgemoor became too unbearable, so they said, £1,500 a year. You know, we paid our own way on every trip we went on, and I'm very sorry to see when it was folded up, and I know Lillian was.
Thank you for that, David.
If I go on to what I was here to say, please, thank you, councillors, for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today, officers and chairman. I have continuing grave concerns about the way One Somerset has been imposed upon us, the residents of Somerset, by biased presentation information from Somerset County Council's own web pages, without proper community engagement or consultation, especially over the last 18 months during the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, I ask for you, councillors, to support my
If you can
call.
speak up, David, please.
I can hear me.
Okay.
Sorry. So, therefore, I ask for you, councillors, to support my call for a judicial review. I have been in contact with Mr. Jenrick's department in London. You can all hear me, I take it? And I have been told that anybody can call for a judicial review. So therefore, I'm asking for this council's support in calling for that judicial review. I have the backing of our MP, and I will call for a judicial review if this council decides not to. Somerset County Council did not convince the 4 existing district councils over a period of 2 years prior to this period of the COVID that their plan in imposing One Somerset was indeed something that these council and other councillors were willing to sign up to. Only some stakeholders were given positive vibes to the proposals, obviously these being contracted companies to existing Somerset County Council, as they possibly were more concerned about losing lucrative contracts. Even Somerset County Council's own conclusion some months ago, after external organisations were asked to look at the One Somerset unitary proposals, came to the conclusion that 81% of Somerset residents did not have enough knowledge, giving them the ability to make an informed decision, with only 19% stakeholders approving the unitary proposals. Councillor David Fothergill is determined to get this through Somerset County Council at this time. Now 2021, 18 months into an epidemic, it's appalling. He has held executive council meetings where the information that was given, even on the agenda, was hidden on the bottom of page 4 of the agenda on page 2, under COVID, not under unitary. I managed to find it within 1 hour of the 7 days able for me to be logged to speak. I went on to that meeting. Waste of time that was. The whole idea of Somerset County Council making decisions smacks of bias on one-sided presentation. Somerset County Council and the 4 district councils would not exist under the new unitary, as you all know. So how come Somerset County Council are the ones who are determining the parameters that this new unitary authority will be governed by and run by? After the whole purpose of having a unitary authority is to give us, the residents, a say in the future governance of this county. Not as I have seen much over the past 2 years, biased presentation that do not allow for questions and debate to ensue. Instead, we've been bamboozled into a hasty decision, pressured by Councillor David Fothergill's vision for Somerset. Even his own councillors called for a delay, more dialogue, consultation with residents, and then some of them even called for a referendum. This was shot down in flames, obviously, by the majority. Councillors, you've got the paperwork that I've submitted to the council. I won't bother with any more because you've all got it. I hope you've all read it. As I say, the backing of the MP is there. Hopefully the backing of you councillors will then endorse the fact that we need a judicial review. There is time. There's plenty of time according to government time. I've spoken to the department. There is plenty of time between now and next May's elections to have a 3-month or 6-month consultation. So I leave it with you, councillors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, David. I now call upon the Deputy Leader of the Council to respond to that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Priest. David, we all know you very, very well, and we thank you for your comments and the time that it's taken you to put this together, because you've well thought it out, and we appreciate this. But there are strictly prescribed grounds for a judicial review in law. The Secretary of State's decision notice and supporting information have been carefully considered by the Council and appropriate legal advice obtained. It is now not considered that there are sufficient prospects for a successful judicial review. However, that does not preclude any individual sufficiently affected by the Secretary of State's decision from bringing their own judicial review, should they consider they have sufficient grounds to do so. However, they would be wise to obtain independent legal advice before doing so. It is important now that the decision has been made that the councils work together to secure the best outcome for the residents of Sedgemoor, and we are therefore focusing our efforts on working collaboratively with other districts in the council to achieve this. But thank you again, David, for what you've done today, but that is the final decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Slocum, and thank you very much for David Priest for sharing the time to come and talk today. Thank you very much. It's nice to see you want to come and do that for a change, actually. Thank you. Is it questions you have at the time? Yeah. Councillor Evans, I've just had advice that the questions will come at the end of the meeting this afternoon. Is that okay? Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. I had to clarify. I thought I was right. Yeah. Okay. Right. You haven't got off that light. I've got quite a few announcements to make today. You just had to sit with me. Quite a few. I've always said to the council a bit like the cha-cha. It's slow, slow, quick, quick, slow. And believe you me, the last 4 or 5 weeks been very much like that. So I'm going to just share with you some of the places I've been to, and some of the thoughts I have, and some of the people I've met. I'll try and be as brief as I can, and I'll try and make it as interesting if I can. If it gets boring, put your hands up, okay? Right. Right. I haven't got my yellow card, right? The sense of humour is still there. You've got to keep that with us. What's happening? You really, really have. Well, I'm going to start with 100 women. Councillors, I'll make you laugh straight away, right? 100 women. Councillor Slogan and myself were invited to the Mercure Hotel to hear about these ladies who'd had a real hard time the last 3 or 4 years, and they'd started with depression. There were single parent mothers there and all the rest of it, and not a lot of hope for them in any way at all. And an initiative started up by, I think it was Caroline Derrick, the Sedgemoor District Council, got some funds together and started to improve their lives. And there was awards for at least 10 of these people on that particular morning. But a lady who really struck me strongly was a lady called Tracy Armstrong Stacey. I'll read it again. Tracy Armstrong Stacey, right? She was doing most of the work, most of the talking, and I think she'll go a very, very long way. She was a very, very strong character. And it was quite a moving thing to do, actually, to sit there. I sat there for 3 hours listening to these talking and these women, and when they got the awards, they were very moved. There were tears, you know, and it was quite moving. And believe you me, I've got a daughter in a similar sort of situation at present, so I know what they were talking about. And only a shame I couldn't stay any longer than what I did, because I was invited to lunch as well. But I understand you ate my share as well, so that was all right. So a very worthwhile thing to follow up with, especially in view of this COVID in the last 18 months. A lot of people have been lonely on their own, etc., etc. And I think you're going to see a lot of problems. And this is one of the things to take things forward and help people, I think. But a very worthwhile visit that was. And I couldn't stay length of time I wanted to. I had to go. I was invited to a garden party at Bath by the High Sheriff, Thomas Shepherd. So this was held at Bath City Farm. And once again, this Bath City Farm was for people who aren't too switched on to the modern world, and they all need carers and they all need helpers. And these people are brought in every day by carers and people who look after them to work on this little farm, self-supporting, a few animals, a few vegetables, a few flowers, and everything else. It was quite an interesting thing, actually. And when we sat down for our party, all the sandwiches were made with the stuff they grew in their own gardens. So it was a self-supporting place. And this was in a place, Twerton. People have been to Bath, watch Bath play football, you know, Twerton Park. Quite a lot of deprivation in that area of Bath. I was quite surprised to hear a lot of people talking, actually. Quite an awful lot. So all you see sometimes ain't what the real picture is until you actually get in it. But what struck me more than anything else that afternoon, there was 4 awards given out by the High Sheriff. And one of these awards went to a gentleman in Colley Lane. Believe it or not, it was my chosen charity this year. I never had a clue he was going to have an award for what was started out there. It was called the Rusty Road for Recovery. And you'll be hearing a lot more of that in the next 6 months, because I'm hopefully going to get some money from all of you, and I'm going to do some fundraising as well to try and get that highlighted more, because what they're doing, they're taking people who are disadvantaged, people with a lot of skill, spend time on their own, yet when he gets them into that garage and the workshop doing woodwork and everything else, you know, well worth a visit down there. It really is, down at the end of Colley Lane there. Okay, that was that visit. Right, I'm sorry I'm going on a bit, but it's a lot going on this particular period of time. That was followed by a visit to Hinkley Point. Once again, I was accompanied by our deputy leader, Councillor Slogan, and we went to see the new visitor centre opened. A very, very impressive place. In fact, to be perfectly frank, a lot of it was over my head. I'll be perfectly honest. You know, the average person that went there would feel the same. It was just a high-tech place, which was, you press a button and what came out was absolutely incredible. It really was. That wasn't the end of the story. And we had a conducted bus tour out to the actual site, Hickory Point itself, sited on the new reactor. And what a piece of engineering that is. I think that's the 5th time I've been out there now, because I was involved from the word go, been a member of Sedgemoor Planning Committee. And when I think of all those little farms that were there and everything else, and the little ditches and everything else, it sort of strikes you. But what a piece of head work it is to get it all working. With the channels, I think, are 5 miles out into the Bristol Channel, the cooling things and all the rest of it coming in, but the size and the vastness of it. But we stayed on the coach the whole time. We had to wear masks and social distancing, but I found it very, very interesting, and how the place had grown in the last 3 months. Absolutely incredible. And we had a lovely cream tea at the Hinkley Point at Cannington. That was very, very nice. That was very nice. Right. Also, that's 3. All right. I'll have a little drink. Right. I'm supposed to be your ambassador at Sedgemoor District Council, and that's what I try and do. I don't let people down. If I'm asked somewhere, I go. I haven't let anybody down in my life. Oh, sorry. And I'll try and maintain that standard. Don't worry about it, right? Right. On the following Saturday, I was invited to Burnham, the King Alfred's Amateur Boxing Club. Hybrid, sorry, dear. Yeah, I got that wrong there. I've got something wrong with all this going on. You're right. But Highbridge, and this has been supported by a series of grants in the last 18 months by Sedgemoor District Council, and it was a very impressive thing. A lot of people turned up that Saturday. I wonder there was probably 200 people there, and they were in the ring sparring and doing this and doing that. And some of the people that were actually training were 80-year-old, believe it or not. 80-year-old, and they were, well, if I'm so fit than I was, you know, you could go down and bob and weave and all the rest of it. Absolutely incredible it was. I didn't hear that. Didn't hear that. They put on some very, very nice refreshments, and it's a worthwhile thing that is. It gets people off the street, to get rid of their little bit of aggression, and gives everybody something to do. And they did have a boxer there who was there previous about 8-10 years ago, and actually he won an award, and the name eludes me, and he was jumping up the enthusiasm for all these young guys, and they got one particular fellow there who's shone out, and I reckon in 3 or 4 years time we should be hearing a lot more of that man from Highbridge, guaranteed, right? But they've got a true champion in Janet Keane fighting the corner. I thought I'd get that one in. Good, thank you, Janet, for all you do out there. Right. On the following Thursday, I was invited to an event here. It was called the Army Engagement Team. Several other councillors attended as well, and that was very well attended by a lot of people, and we had a lot of officers speak from various departments, and it showed how the armed forces are changing, much more to technology and the skills they had to learn. It's just a dramatic change, and these young guys go in, and also a lot of support for the people that leave, because they get these mental problems, health problems when they leave, and that was brought to the front as well. But an awful lot to learn, and the speakers were very, very good. And once again, we had some nice refreshments afterwards and a drink, and it was well worth attending. You know, so the army numbers are declining, and they're declining because they're relying more and more on technology, and that's the way it's tending to go. All right, so that was a very interesting event. I'm sure that Councillor Mark Healy asked a very interesting question. Actually, like he would, he'd never stay quiet, can he? He was up straight away. The first question in. That's right. That's right. Quite right too. Yes. Okay. Right. Moving on. We're nearly there. Bridgewater Fair. What can I say about that? Well, if it's good weather, that was the first thing on the Wednesday. It was good weather on the Wednesday. It was good. And I had the privilege of going out there with our Bridgewater Town Mayor, our Deputy Leader, and quite a little group of us, and the Guild, who were very, very generous people, actually. They were giving out a lot of tickets, and people were having free rides. I declined any fast ride. They had it straight away. Anything a bit slow, I don't mind going on. You know, but anything fast, that's not me. So I'm a bit gutless, really, when it comes to things like that. Couple of bad experiences when you're young. That's how it is, yeah. In fact, I was the only man from North Newton to get in the boxing ring with one of them about, how was that, 50 years ago, I think it was. It was £1 if you could last one round, right? And £5 if you could last 3 rounds. I lasted 36 seconds, but never had so many seconds in a quarter of my life. So a big thank you, because they really look forward to Bridgewater Fair. They really do. And the atmosphere was starting to build, and things are starting to get back to a bit of normality. So thank you all the people who backed Bridgewater Fair, and not only that, all the officers from Sedgemoor who were there on duty, carrying out their task and whatever. In fact, they were worried to death on the Thursday morning when I had to go and judge the best stall that the wind and rain was picking up. They'd have to shut it down because they were afraid all the tents were going to blow in and all the rest of it. Right? So I just said, not panic. I said, be like a farmer. Look, just ride the storm. And it was the right decision, as it turned out. Right. Okay. Thank you, Jill, for all that as well. Right. And if Councillor Redmond was here today, I'd thank him as well, because it was quite a good, interesting 2 or 3 hours. It really was. Yeah. And finally, Sunday evening, I attended the Young Farmers Harvest Supper at Wells Cathedral. It was nice to get a bit of normality back at there. That there was ordinary singing, mass were removed, and singing had started again, and it was quite a nice place. The Wells Cathedral School were there organising the choir, and we had Brymore boys from our own Cannington. They presented harvest gifts to the altar, and that was followed by a supper in the town hall. But it was quite good to get things back to normality. I've been a few things to Wells Cathedral the last 18 months, and it's been half empty, everybody masked, quiet, and just not perhaps like it should be. But normality is returning, I think. Okay, so I've had a busy period of time. All right, right. I haven't let anybody down. There you go. Right, and thank you for all the support I get from Layla in the office for organising some of these things, and most of all my wife. She's got to pick up the pieces now and again when I just fall down, you know, unless I'm only human. So all the best. Right, now we can move on if we could, please, if we could. Right. Any questions on any of that, actually? Anybody ask any questions? Because there's quite a lot of stuff covered there. Mark's champing it a bit. I'm sorry, it was probably, well, you know, just one of them period of time. Item 6. Item 6, yeah. Right, now we're moving on to counselling. Item number 6. I think this one here, Julie, to clarify. Is that right, Julie, or not? Yes? Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor Pay. Thank you very much. Obviously, Julie is the chairman of the Audit and Standards Committee. Right. Is that seconded? Councillor Alan Matthews, thank you for that. Yeah. Any debate? All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Against? Abstentions? None? Thank you. Right. Item 6.2, financial regulations, is a recommendation from the Audit and Standards Committee on the 1st of September 2021. I will now hand over to Councillor Julie Pay to propose recommendations.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to propose this recommendation.
Is that seconded, please? Councillor Alan Matthews again, thank you. Any debate? Councillor Evans.
I'm very aware in other councils there are questions and queries about disposal of assets. transferring assets to perhaps other tiers of authorities. Might be somewhat connected to something else that we heard about earlier, I don't know. I couldn't see anything about disposal of assets in this policy, and I wondered where our policy on that is covered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would Councillor Slogan answer that one, or Councillor Pay? Don't mind which one.
I don't do the audit, as you appreciate, obviously being it's Julie, but what we'll do is we'll look into that and I'll get a written answer to you on those details. I don't think it is part of this, but we will certainly see to it. Okay, thank you.
You happy with that, Councillor Evans, a written reply? Okay, thank you for that. Right. 6.3 is the gender pay statement. The recommendation from Audit and Sorry, I'm in a hurry again. Sorry. We haven't voted on that one. Sorry, Councillor. We've got to go back one. All those in favour? Thank you. Against? Abstentions? None. Thank you very much. Majority, yeah. Majority vote. 100%. Yeah. 100%. Thank you. Right. 6.3 is the gender pay statement. The recommendation from Audit and Standards Committee on the 1st of September 2021. I will now hand over to Councillor Julie Pay to propose recommendations.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to propose this recommendation.
Is that seconded? Seconded, Alan Matthews. Thank you, Alan. Debate. Any councillors have any questions? No? Let's have a show of hands then. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Unanimous again. Thank you all for council. Thank you all very much.
Show of hands, Chairman. A majority show of hands.
Thank you, Andrew. Right. Now, item number 7, we move on to executive question time. Councillor Kingham, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to ask some questions regarding these reports, but I never received them, so I'll sit out.
I didn't catch it. Sure.
I never received the executive reports.
You never received it?
No.
Okay, rightio. Okay. We'll put that right for next time. We can find out what's gone. Okay, right. Councillor McGuinness, any questions? Councillor Smedley?
Yeah, I'm sorry that the leader's not here today to answer this, but I'm sure Councillor Slocum can. The leader refers to the new appointment of the Secretary of State, Michael Gove, into the position that he is at the moment, and he says he welcomes that. You all heard Mr. Priest's comments earlier on about the discontent with the way things are going and have gone. Does the Deputy Leader welcome the appointment of Michael Gove, and can she see anything positive in that? We're not sure we can.
Thank you for that, Councillor Smedley. Do you want to respond to that, Councillor Slocum?
It's always lovely to respond to the Leader of the Opposition. Of course, we are in hope. We live in hope that perhaps things may be brighter. And ever being the optimist, as we all are, especially on this side, we think that maybe there may bring some good fortune ahead. Who knows? But very optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Slocum. Councillor Evans, please.
Just wanted to raise the question that I wasn't allowed to ask earlier after Mr. Priest spoke. I think the Deputy Leader said that it was a final decision on the judicial review. I am hoping that when we see the draft structural order, we might have that option to judicially review the situation that we are in. I'm very aware that from the bid that was accepted in full by Mr. Jenrick, the Secretary of State, we were told that it wouldn't be a continuing authority, and now we're told it's looking likely that it will be a continuing authority. We were told we'd have a council membership of 100, and now it's looking like a membership of 85. We're not getting what we were promised, and I think we should hold that weapon of a judicial review in our back pocket. I sincerely hope it wasn't, as the Deputy Leader said, our final decision.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. Take a response, Councillor Slocum.
I'd just like to say thank you very much, but I would like to, when I said the final decision is as it is, I would like to hand now to our Chief Executive, who'll give us a little bit more detail, if I may, please.
Just to say, it is the final decision on a judicial review. There are a whole series of steps that the Secretary of State needs to take between now and vesting day, and depending on the decisions that are made at that stage, we may want to look at those and take a decision. So Councillor Evans is right. On the specific issue of the initial decision, we have had Council's opinion, which says that there are no grounds for judicial review, but that's only that first step. There are a whole series of steps yet to be taken, which potentially are challengeable. So just to confirm Councillor Evans' understanding of the position.
Clarity, Councillor Evans. Is that the question you wanted to ask later? No.
Did ask for that.
Right, okay. Good answer. Right, thank you. Right. Any questions for Deputy Leader? Councillor Cathy Pearce.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is on item 5, gravity. There's a lot of scoping in this in the paragraph here, and given it's such an important project for the area, are you able to give a little more detail on the parameters and scope of the environmental impact assessment that you mentioned, please?
Thank you very much, Deputy Leader of the Opposition. The scoping report in relation to the environment statement is required to support the local development order, as we all know, and this has been provided by the council, and consultation, statutory consultations have taken place. So basically what I'm saying is on the 13th of October, the DCO will be looked at in the executive where much more details. It's a very complex time at this time, and there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. And also, at the moment, they're all very, very confidential items. So we are looking forward to, we had meetings day before yesterday. We're looking forward to moving forward. But there is a lot more to come, but I can assure you this council will be kept up to date with exactly what's happening, because it's very, very important when it goes out to consultation that everyone is aware exactly the size and the uniqueness of this project. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Slocum. You have that, Councillor Pearce. Councillor Harvey.
Is there any pressure we can put on the government to actually talk to us and tell us whether or not we're going to get involved?
Thank you very much. And so, Harvey, as we know, we're all waiting for the CRF fund. We're all waiting for the levelling up. And it is a process that we're going through. I don't think we need to put any more pressure. I think we're all waiting on the sidelines. You know the regeneration of Highbridge, the regeneration of Cheddar, the work that's going in. We're doing an immense amount of work in this council. And what we're doing is we're doing the work behind the scenes so that we're ready to go. The minute they click the button, we're off. So trust me, I make a promise and we'll leave it. So it'll be there, but we have to wait. There's nothing else we can do, but we are frustrated. I think the whole council is frustrated. We want to hear this, but there's a lot of work going on at the house. So you know that, but we'll get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Slocum. Right. Right. Any more questions for Deputy Leader? There's one more there.
Yeah, it's really about the point 4 for the particular point, the accommodation package that's under discussion. I just wondered if it's possible to have a little bit more detail and know sort of what stage those discussions are at, and how those accommodation measures, what they look like, and when we'll have a bit more information, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Yes, there is a packet of potential accommodation measures aimed at providing additional capacity to address the pressures on the housing market. And I've been having, along with many other councillors, but Mr. Bamsey and I have been having direct meetings with EDF to talk about that. The worker uplift has put a lot of pressure, and we understand the pressure on the housing market. So I can assure you we are working extremely hard and having meetings in between. They have got a vision. We've asked for a vision from them to see what they're doing. They have potentially picked out lots of areas and lots of things that they know where they can put accommodation in. So I think we are definitely now moving in the right direction. And I do feel really, really hopeful of this. So we're keeping on the button with it, okay? But it's moving forward in the right direction, because we cannot wait any longer with the worker uplift numbers. Something has to be done now. Okay.
Councillor Bruce, response.
Yeah, would it be possible to bring back that information maybe to now? We've got a few more details on it. We know it looks like a little bit more.
Yes, can I say that we will bring this back to members' briefing, but I want the ink on the paper. I want the definition. I want exactly what's going to happen. I want the precise information so that we come back to members' briefing and we can tell you exactly what's happening. At the moment, we've had a vision meeting to decide what we're going to do. I want to see that process working. I want to see that down on paper so that I can come to you and I can actually tell you exactly what's happening. It won't be long. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Slogan. Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Thank you very much. Good question. Thank you. Any other questions for Deputy Leader? Right, moving on. Infrastructure and Transport. Councillor Mike Caswell. Councillor Evans, please. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The portfolio holder in his last report describes the decision on the Transport to Works order as imminent. I wonder how he'd describe it today.
I just wish I had it in my hand. As I said in my report, it's down to the MP, the Secretary of State, George Eustace, to get the final go-ahead. I can assure you that everybody, rather like a lot of the other projects that we have, are just waiting for the go button. As soon as we get it, we will get it. We have everybody that can possibly help us doing the best we can, but it's down to him. Unfortunately, I wish we could go along and sort of say, come along, where's this order? Well, there has been some pressure put on by the people that wrote the Transport and Works order. And we're just waiting for the reply. I'm as eager as anybody in this room to see that barrier up and doing its job. Absolutely. I don't want to see what's happened over the last all those years ago. I don't want to ever see that again around here. I want to see us that we can control the flow of that river with this barrier. And as soon as the Right Honourable George Eustace gives us the go-ahead, we will go. Absolutely. I don't know if Mr. Bamsey wants to add anything more to that. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Caswell. Thank you. All happy? Doug, did you want to say? No, you didn't want to say. Okay, right. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Evans, for that. Thank you. No other questions for Councillor Caswell? Right. Customers and digital delivery. Councillor Lance Duddridge. One. Councillor Bruce.
Councillor Duddridge, could you give a bit more information about what you mean when you say that people are actually the authority, what that entails, please?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Bruce. I have got a little bit more information. The people work stream is one of the 6 work streams that are being organised to work towards a new authority. The lead officer for us and for the whole work stream is Helen Thomas from the people team. What it's going to deal with issues including TOOP, agreeing the terms and conditions of the new authority, supporting the appointment of the new chief exec and the rest of the senior team, staff well-being, relations with the unions, organisational development, and things like creating the culture and the values of the new authority. The first meeting will be taking place next week, and they're going to come back with some more information on the scope of the work and how they're going to move forward. Is that any help? Thank you.
A further question from Councillor Pearce. Looks like it. Councillor Dedridge, not that off yet.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is regarding the customer panel working with the YMCA, Bridgewater College and disability groups. Can you tell us what has changed as a result of including the group of people here, if anything?
At the moment, very little, because we just started with the engagement with YMCA, etc. But we're moving forward with that, and hopefully, well, certainly before next full council, we'll have some more information on that, and I can let you know directly when we get some more members for the panel.
Any other questions, Councillor Dedridge? Thank you, Councillor Dedridge. Thank you. Moving on, housing. Councillor Andrew Gilling. I'm looking around. There's no questions. No. Quiet day, Andrew. Moving on again, commercial and asset management. Councillor Mark Healy. Councillor Smedley.
It's on the subject of the North Gate Yard. This is a project that we've supported constantly down the line on this one. It's an important project to be going ahead, and we want to continue supporting it, of course, because it's a key legacy project for Sedgemoor as well. One problem that has been quite clear, in the sense that it's not particularly clear at nights there, is there's no lights down the passageway by the school. However, we've been asking for this for some months now, but I'm very aware that there's about to be an announcement that these lights are about to be fixed. I wonder whether Councillor Healy is prepared to give that announcement today, or if not, to follow it up.
Yes, thank you for that question. I'd be disappointed if you didn't ask me any questions with my portfolio, but yes, you're very much right. I think if I've got this right, is it Monday? Monday, the lights will come on. And again, I accept where you're coming from, Councillor Biggers. Yeah, people don't want to be walking around at night with no lights, and I get that totally. So I consider this as good news. So thank you for your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Healy. I've got a further question from Councillor Phil Harvey.
Thank you. The news about public conveniences in Burnham has been very well received, as you can imagine. I've already had some questions about disabled provision. So do we have any details of what we're actually going to be providing?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's a question I really and truthfully can't answer you at this moment in time, but I'm sure officers will give you a written report. But I'm glad you brought up the challenge of the public convenience in Burnham-on-Sea, because I know you've been very active over this, Councillor. So I think you'll go down in history as the councillor that championed public conveniences. Myself, I'd like to go down in history as the champion of Northgate Yard, but thank you.
I suppose that's a sort of crap record to go with.
If I may, Chairman, through you, I'll reply. Earlier on, Councillor, you said bugger all's happened. I'll return that by saying bugger off. You know.
Right. Thank you, Councillor Healy and Councillor Harvey. A bit of entertainment. Thank you both. Thank you. Right. No further questions. Communities and Wellbeing. Councillor Janet Keane.
Questions?
Councillor Bartlett, please.
I welcome Councillor Keane's statement. The Police and Crime Commissioner's Office.
Sorry, I can't hear your question.
Have to use the mic and speak up if we could. We'd like to hear the
I'm a
questions.
teacher as well, and
That's
I
all
should be
right,
able to
that's it.
shout across the room.
Yeah, look, go on, have a shout.
Hooray. I always want to sing when I get one of these. Sorry, I welcome Councillor Keane's statement that the Police and Crime Commissioner's Office has successfully secured funding to support victims of rape and sexual abuse, and hope that this long overdue and vital funding is successful in its aims. However, at a national level, the horrific kidnap, rape and murder of Sarah Everard is a stark reminder that the police service itself is also capable of the most appalling of crimes. In the light of the recent local funding and in the light of Cressida Dick's move to organise an independent review into the standards and culture of the Metropolitan Police, my question is, are there any plans by the new Police Commissioner, Mark Shelford, to establish a similar and regular system of review of the standards and culture, Avon and Somerset? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bartlett.
Thank you very much. The new police commissioner has not been in post very long, but he is already setting a precedence for investigating, and with these particular initiatives, which is within the whole force, not just in Somerset itself, the items will appear on the associated agenda of the Safer Somerset Partnership. It is always under review because it is a part of serious violence. And these sums, it wasn't so long ago that they were actually handed over. So there isn't time yet to be able to establish how that money was spent, nor what the outcomes of any assistance or statistics of what people have come forward to ask. Previously, before Mr. Shelford's appointment, it was a matter of concern, the length of time, and that is one of the national concerns that would be part of your question. The length of time it takes for a complaint to progress from the victim through the system to the police officer, to the gathering of evidence, taking it to the Crown Prosecution Service, and then waiting a decision as to whether or not they can proceed to a court hearing or not, and what support is given. That is a major, major concern, because that is the time at which many victims lose confidence and decide to withdraw their complaint because of the stress factors involved in waiting. It is a national concern, and you're very right to mention it. And it is now a focus, a very high priority on all of these committees.
Can I come back to that, please? Can I come back? Yeah. Thank you for that. My focus is actually on the police service itself, and the review that is ongoing into the Metropolitan. I wonder if that is coming down to a local level. I'm talking about I understand this is about victims, and of course that is the most important thing here. But given the new appointment of Mark Shelford, I would like to know if he is going to, or the office is going to, establish a review of the standards and culture at Avon and Somerset, given the violence towards women recently in the news.
Thank you. I will ask that specific question. We have a meeting towards the end of this month, but I will submit the question to the office of the Commissioner well before that, and ask if in due course he can provide us with a statement and the review and the focus of his review, so that it can be shared with all the participating councils within the force area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Keane. A very topical subject. You all watch the television. It seems to be highlighting over the last week, 10 days. Very topical, very important subject. Must be very complicated at times. Thank you. Right. Thank you all for that, members. Now we go on to item number 8, the committee chairman reports. We start up with Development Committee. Councillor Filmer. How I miss that committee, Bob. I sat there for 14 years on that committee, and I did find it was the most interesting within the council, right? And I'll be quite honest, and I do miss it, because it was a busy visiting the city. So over to you. Any questions for Councillor Filmer? I didn't get that, Councillor. I didn't get that.
I'm tempted to ask whether Mr. Philbin misses you, Councillor Bradford.
Well, the meeting's over an hour shorter now. So you know, but I have quite a widespread knowledge of what we're talking about. And I used to go and look at the places, and I knew what I was on about when I started. That was the thing, you know. And I those 2 words, which was common sense. Don't anybody ever forget it. Those 2 words, right? You won't beat it. Any questions for Councillor Filmer? No, none. Moving on then, licensing and general purpose. Councillor Polly Costello. She's not here today anyhow, so is there any questions they can... Councillor Masil, thank you. Yes. Yeah, Barry Crowe, I would think. But Barry's not here, he's only on screen. Who do we address this to? If we think of your written response, that sound good? Yeah, from Polly herself, I would think. Yes, okay. Okay, carry on if you could, yeah.
Regarding licensing, I and the rest of the chair were surprised to discover that it would be private land in mid-August. As the caravans arrived, the Light-Pole Democratic Services inquires whether any licensing was required. As there was no alcohol sales, no meat entertainment, no late-night refreshment being sold, I was assured that no licenses were needed. However, when residents called the council, no clear answer was given, and residents have been told the festival is still being investigated. I wondered, why is there a delay in making the statement on the legality of
Right, thank you, Councillor. Thank you very much. You got all that? Yeah. Written response, you're happy with that, are you? Okay, thank you for bringing it to light. Thank you. Any other? No, right. Corporate Scrutiny Committee, Councillor Brian Smedley. Any questions? Got away with it, Brian. Right. Community Scrutiny Committee, Councillor Hilary Briggs. Any questions? Right. That is it.
No questions.
No questions at all. Thank you very much, councillors. Thank you. Item number 9. Any questions with notice? I don't think we have any at all. Any questions without notice? Councillor Evans, yes?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I've had a number of constituents, and I'm sure many of us have seen reports about the state of the Willow Man on the M5. I appreciate it's not council property or not a council asset, but it does reflect very heavily on this area. It's used in marketing, really hard to tell. I'm pretty sure I've seen it in marketing material produced by this council, and I know by other local employers and so on. It is at the moment in quite an embarrassing state, having lost its head and both of its arms. Is there anything we can do? It is getting quite anything now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, councillor. People have spoken to me on that one as well, actually. I've got to go to the deputy leader. She probably got some input. It's been talked about, I know. It's been talked about.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. No, I'm not sure, but I absolutely take your point about this. He's had a rough time, the Willow Man, and I have some ideas that I'd like to do with him. But obviously, he needs gentle persuasion, and he needs a bit of work. So, but I think what they're looking at is now what's the best way forward. As you know, Serena de la Haye was the artist involved, and this is a very sensitive subject. But if you can allow me to probe a little bit deeper, and I'll get back to you on that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That whippy sort of an answer, Councillor Slogan. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Evans. Good point, that is actually a very good point. Right, I think that's the end of the meeting, looks like it. Sorry, Councillor Cordia, thank you very much. Yes, a question?
Just to raise the point, going back to the question from Sarah Everard, like that. Actually, as a woman sitting in this meeting, there have been various comments that have made me uncomfortable
going to mention those things. I don't really want to make anyone else uncomfortable, but I think as a council we have to reflect on our language and how we describe women, how we talk to women. And I don't know if anybody else picked up any comments, but I certainly, as a woman, felt uncomfortable at certain points. So I think we need to reflect on that.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor. Thank you very much. We'll all hear what she's saying. Would anybody would you like to respond to that, Councillor Slogan? Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Cordner. I have to say, as a fellow woman, I think in life sense of humour, and sometimes things are said in jest, but I've not heard anything this afternoon unless you're referring to the word ladies. No, you're not referring to that. No, so I didn't know if you were referring to that. But
I'm not going to say what comment make other people feel uncomfortable, but that has to be. I'm sure if this was recorded, it wasn't ladies. I'm not that sensitive.
okay, some people are, so.
Violence against women comes in many forms, and women feeling uncomfortable in a public place is one of them.
Well, I wonder whether you would make things a little easier to me if you could email me your feelings on this, because I respect your point of view, and I would like you to, if you could email me directly, please, where we can look at this and deal with it, if that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Slogan. Thank you very much, Councillor Bringnut. Councillor Bruce.
I'm a member of the Equalities Working Group, and there has been some discussion about the need for equalities training for members and terminology that we use. It was something I was waiting for an update on in terms of when that training is going to happen for members. I think that might be a positive and constructive way to deal with this, to look at the terminology that we use and to deal with that in a training situation. So perhaps if you could look into that and see when that training might be possible, and get back to us on that, it's useful.
Okay, thank you very much, and bring it to the forefront. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just wanted to say that there used to always be regular equalities training, and I think many of us have gone many times. But certainly what I'll do is I'll look into that with Angela Farmer and see whether we can get a way forward. It's training's not a bad thing. No matter how many times we do it, you never stop learning. So thank you.
Councillor Woodman, please.
Yes, meeting is being recorded, and a copy of the recording will be made available on YouTube, as is the norm now for Sedgemoor meetings.
Okay, all have that response? Yes? Okay. That brings us to the end. Sorry, Councillor Evans, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. My colleague just reminded me of another question that we did have one very big, and I forgot to raise it. I'm very aware of issues that happen on Barrow Beach at the moment, with access to Barrow Beach being forbidden. I fully understand the safety reasons behind it, but we also bear in mind that access to Barrow Beach is important to many people, particularly disabled and the horse riding community who like to use that facility where possible. If any ways forward could be found on that protect the safety of the public, but also allow access to Barrow Bridge, I know it would be appreciated by many in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. Is a response to that, Councillor Slocum?
Thank you very much, Councillor Evans. It is a really very important issue, and one that we will take really seriously. So I'm going to read this because this is what I've compiled together, so I don't get it wrong. The decision has been taken by the Council to close Barrow Beach vehicle access gate throughout the winter months for a number of reasons. It's not a decision taken lightly, and we appreciate that many people would wish to see it open for the parking of cars all the year round. Firstly, most importantly, is the safety issue of some vehicle owners being unaware of the dangers of driving on the soft mud, getting stuck and being caught by fast incoming tides. The beach warden service for Barrow ended at the end of September and doesn't resume again until Easter 2022. And therefore, there is no supervision or guidance to vehicle owners unaware of the dangers and who may not be able to get prompt assistance if it was needed. It has been suggested that local car owners have the knowledge and experience not to get into difficulty. It is of course the case that we cannot be certain that this is really the case given the beach's constantly changing environment with the fast tides. In any case, we have no ability to restrict access only to local people. In addition, the opening of beach car parks requires daily operation of the gate. The beach road access needs to be cleared of sand regularly to enable vehicle access onto the beach throughout the off-season months. The ramp on the beach is also likely to require regular attention to ensure safe access on the beach. The council neither has the staff local to Barrow or the number of staff to be able to cover the operations safely on a regular basis. There's no restriction for pedestrians access to the beach throughout the winter months, so those wishing to walk dogs or even take horses onto the beach or simply go for a walk would be able to park on the beach road locally and walk on there. So there's no issue at all about that. Once the additional car park next to the access road has been constructed, which is planned to be completed by April 22, vehicles will be able to park off the beach road to allow for safer parking, which will enable better access to emergency vehicles should this arise. So in a net, by April 22, this issue won't apply. They'll be able to park opposite and they'll be able to get safe access. So it's just a case of us just bearing with this. We have to work on the safety angle. We have to be prepared. And if no one was there and something happened, then this council would be liable. Very difficult decision, but I think it's a very important one. Thank you.
Councillor Slogan, thank you. All happy with that? Yes, Councillor.
Sorry, just a clarification. I've heard seen some comments that this is the first year that it's been closed. Is that correct? That in the previous year, just closed this year for the first time?
Yes, we did it same last year, closed last year. This is a regular thing. And of course, because as I said before, the tides and everything, very difficult. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Lewis, thank you very much. Thank you. Any other questions? Brings the speaking to an end, I think. Yep. Sorry, Councillor Slocum.
I just wanted to say, as you know, you've got me today instead of the leader, but I know it was on the leader's report, but I just wanted to say to people how proud we are that our leader is doing a peer review. Obviously shows how great we are and the work we do in Sedgemoor. So he will be back again. Normal circumstances resume next time, but I think we should be very pleased the fact that he's giving the time to actually do a peer review and give his knowledge to other councils, which is really important. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Slocum. Right, I'd just like to thank my Vice Chairman and thank all officers today for being in this meeting and all councillors for attending. And thank you for the Canal side for having us again. So the meeting is now closed. Thank you.